Warm greetings to you and welcome to Spectrum TV and Planet FM. This President bill calls for peaceful vote ahead of Saturday's polls. Kenyan leader defends minister's attack on the media. South African fire kills 2 children locked in flat. Gambia to test Indian drugs after cough syrup scandal. Plus, Cameroon opposes visit by France's LGBT. We'll begin today's Spotlight Africa with Sierra Leone's President Julius Bio, who is running for re-election and has held his final rally in the capital on the Freetown's Lumley Beach ahead of the Saturday's June 24 polls. Bio, one of the 13 candidates vying for the top office and member of the Sierra Leone People's Party, called for a peaceful election at the end of a tense campaign. He noted that traditional parade-like political street rallies have been banned this year to avoid potential violence. Reports say voters will also elect members of parliament, MPs and local councils. So has backed his trade minister Moses Kuria for threatening a media house over its expose of a cooking oil scandal. Kuria had warned government departments not to advertise with the nation media group NMG after the report, which alleged that certain private firms were allowed by his ministry to import cooking oil tax-free. The report noted that the specific exemption under Kenyan law could only be made for emergency relief goods, with the entire deal potentially leading to the loss of more than $100 million. On a road in the Rift Valley district of Naivasha, the vehicle was part of a motorcade that was on its way back to the capital Nairobi after President William Ruto had attended an event to flag off the WRC Safari Rally competition. Ruto is said not to have been in the motorcade as he had flown by helicopter. It was not clear what caused the accident. Witnesses told local media that the driver had been trying to negotiate a sharp bend. Meanwhile, the injured were taken to a nearby hospital in favor of doubling of the value-added tax VAT levied on fuel to 16%, which is expected to add to the rising cost of living. Reports say the ruling party coalition MPs pushed through the proposal, with 184 approving the clause within new finance bill, while 88 lawmakers opposed it. The government, which is reportedly looking to raise about 50 billion of the opposition MPs in parliament, said it was punitive, terming the decision to push ahead with the fuel tax clause as the saddest day in the history of the country. In the meantime, one of 30 suspects being held in police custody for his alleged role in Kenya's doomsday starvation cult has died. Joseph Juma Buyuka, along with some of the other suspects, had gone on hunger strike at the beginning of where he died. Meanwhile, none of the suspects, including cult leader Paul Nthenge Mackenzie, have yet been charged as police continue their investigations. The self-proclaimed pastor and the other suspects are believed to have encouraged members of the Good News International Church to starve themselves to death. In another development, reports from Sudan say the Sudanese army and the rival Rapid Support Forces RSF clashed in Khartoum. There are also reports of anti-aircraft fire during an army aircraft operation in Omdurman, violations on both sides. It would be recalled that armed conflict between Sudanese forces have reportedly accused each other of bombing the intelligence headquarters in the country's capital, Khartoum. The army said the paramilitary subjected to aerial bombardment and artillery attacks by the army. The RSF, in a statement, accused the attack on the building came on the last day of a generally respected 72-hour ceasefire, which was due to expire at dawn today. Away from that now, the South African presidency has warned people against scammers using President Cyril Ramaphosa's name to defraud the public. It said messages purporting to be sent by the president have been circulating. According to the presidency, the president does not request any funds or endorse any payments or contracts between third parties. Anyone who has received communications of such nature from the president or the presidency should terminate all future contact with the scammers. In South Africa, where police are investigating the death of Tina Joemat Peterson, an MP for the governing African National Congress ANC, who was recently involved in a bribery scandal. There are suspicions that her death 2 weeks ago at the age of 59 might not have been due to natural causes. According to reports, $1,000 from the husband of suspended public protector Busisiwe Ngubane to make her impeachment inquiry go away. All three denied the allegations. Now, it would be recalled that last week, Ngubane released some recordings of conversations in which she alleges Joemat Peterson is heard asking for the money. Meanwhile, Joemat Peterson was a close ally of former President Jacob Zuma and served as a minister in his cabinet from 2000 in the South African city of Johannesburg after a fire broke out in a presidential building where they had been left unattended and locked inside an apartment. The blaze in the inner city area of Hillbrow began on Wednesday afternoon. Squatters often move into old and abandoned buildings in the area, which colloquially are firefighters for their efforts in saying Hillbrow's old buildings did not meet health and safety standards. In the meantime, South African comedian and author Trevor Noah has announced he will be launching a weekly podcast on Spotify later this year, one of the world's most popular podcasting platforms. Noah said that the format of the podcast will include meaningful conversations with some of the world's most fascinating people. The news was revealed during a conversation between Noah and Spotify boss Daniel Ek at the Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity in France. Now, as a comedian, Trevor Noah to launch interview podcasts? Stay tuned for details of this and more. The group says it has carried out 2 suicide attacks on military facilities. Reports say several people were killed in the incident. The attack comes just hours after the African Union said it would reduce the number of troops it deploys to Somalia. Away from that, the Gambia is enforcing mandatory inspections and testing of all after taking Indian-made cough syrups. The World Health Organization (WHO) said they had been contaminated with toxic chemicals commonly used in car brake fluid and other industrial products. India later said that the medicines complied with specifications. Reports say other batches were later linked to the death of 19 children in Uzbekistan. Meanwhile, India, whose pharmaceutical industry makes a third of the world's medicine, has also made it compulsory, considering possible legal action over the deaths. Still in Gambia, the alleged mastermind of last year's attempted coup in the Gambia, Lance Corporal Sana Fadera has denied wrongdoing. He is standing trial. Fadera and his co-accused are facing charges of treason, concealment of treason and mutiny. He told the court that he had not planned to overthrow the government or instigated any of his colleagues to stage a mutiny. The junior naval officer also denied a university degree, but admitted applying for promotion. He also denied discussing with the state witness Saiko Gazama to take him to a Marabelt spiritual guide in Mauritania and subsequently make him the head of intelligence if the coup succeeded. In a separate development, a prominent Tunisian journalist has been arrested on charges of insulting President Kais Saied. A judge ordered the detention of Ziern over his health as he reportedly suffered a stroke some time ago. Reports say in recent months, Tunisian judges have opened investigations into more than 20 political, judicial, media and business figures associated with opposition to president. Meanwhile, Governor Abdirahman Abdullahi has told newsmen that a new national contactless payment system will revolutionize business in Somalia. Abdullahi was talking after the launch in Mogadishu of what is called Somq, which brings digital-less payments can be made via a QR code, which means all one needs is access to the internet for secure payment services via banking and other apps. Away from that, the deadline for those wishing to register as candidates for Zimbabwe to raise the money required. The registration fee for presidential candidates was $20,000, that is 20 times higher than it was in 2018, while those wishing to run for parliament had to stump up $1,000 to put forward candidates for all positions. A party must now have $230,000 at its disposal. President Emerson Mnangagwa at the High Court in the capital Harare. Others trickled in over the course of the day, a marked contrast to 5 years ago when 23 candidates were on the ballot. Near closing time, one female presidential candidate was still canvassing for overseas donations to pay for her nomination. Another party leader reduced the number of candidates being put forward to leave enough money for campaigns. Moving on now to Cameroon, where Foreign Minister Lejeune Mbela has said the government disapproves of the planned visit by France's LGBTQ rights in Cameroon. Ambassador Jean-Marc Berthon was due to visit Cameroon from 27th June through 1st July to discuss gender rights. It will be recalled that recently Cameroon's National Communication Council warned the media against promoting homosexual content. And lastly, on Spotlight Africa, Ghana's football star Osama Gyan has officially announced him as all-time top scorer. The 37-year-old started his club career in 2003, playing for Ghana's premier team, Liberty Professionals, and later played in Europe for Italian Serie A's Udinese, French in the United Arab Emirates, playing for Al Ain, supporting the team to win the UAE Pro League title, and becoming the league's top scorer with 28 goals in 32 matches. He also played for Shanghai SRPG senior national team, the Black Stars, in 3 FIFA World Cups in 2006, 2010, and 2014. He is Africa's top World Cup scorer with 3rd place in 2008 and in runner-up positions in the 2010 and 2015 seasons. Gyan spent his final football career detailing his life and football journey. This has been Spotlight Africa, brought to you by Spectrum Television and Planet Radio. Do ensure to follow us to enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye for now.